Om 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 Sana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. बोलिए श्री सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय. ओम समस्त जन कल्याणे निरतम करुणामयम नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्. ओम सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां. Vande Guru Paramparam. Hari Om. Welcome this very happy evening of Naraka Chaturdashi. Tomorrow all of us are going to celebrate Deepavali. Very beautiful, auspicious time as we begin with this text on Nataka Deepaha from Panchadashi. The 10th chapter of Panchadashi is Nataka Deepaha. We saw about it last week, about how the whole symbolism is taken from the dancing court in the palace, about who is the dancer, who is the king or the yajaman who is watching the dance performance, because of whom the dance performance is being held, who are the audience, and what is the dancer, what is the quality of the nature of the dancer, where does she get her energy for the dance, and what is the light that shines on the auditorium and on the stage, and even after the dance is over the light is there. About all that we saw. We are into this 18th verse today. Grihantaragata swalpo gavakshadatapochalaha Tatra haste nartyamane nrityati vatapo yatham. This example is given to point out that the mind is fickle, but it appears as if the self is fickle. So that is it's a common example we might have experienced in our homes when there is water in the front of the house and there is a rays of light, the rays of sunlight that falls on the water, and that water reflects on the wall. It looks like as if the wall is moving. It looks like as if the light is moving, but actually the light is falling on the water. The water is moving, and so the light appears to move. The light has got no movement, it is steady. It is the water that is having movement, but it appears as if the light is moving, or even the wall is moving sometimes, as if the wall is having a motion picture running on it. Griha antargataha swalpaha, even little streak of light which is entering into the house. Gavakshat, from an opening in the house. Atapaha achalaha, that light is motionless, but tatra haste, in the hand. We had seen this last week about how children do this, showing with their watch. They have a wristwatch, they direct the sunlight on the watch and they play with it by sending it around the class, distracting everybody, getting the teacher's attention, making that light shine on the teacher's eyes so that the teacher is not able to see properly. All these games the children play. But that example is for Nartyamane, dancing. That light is dancing. That light, which is steady, appears to be dancing because the medium on which it is reflected is dancing. In the same way, the consciousness or the sakshi is steady, but it appears to go out and come in because the medium on which the consciousness is reflected, that is the mind, goes out through the sense organs and comes back. Jiva. Nrityati iva atapaha. Light. Yatha. Just as the light is dancing, seems to be dancing, the consciousness also seems to be in motion, whereas actually the mind is only in motion. निजस्थानस्थितः साक्षी बहिरन्तर्गम गमागमौ अकुर्वन् बुद्धिचाञ्चल्यात् करोतीव यथा तथा. This is the same verse, the previous verse, but it is just taking off from the previous verse and explaining in more detail. What is the intellect? The intellect is a steady thought. And that steady thought shines with the light of consciousness. The mind has got many thoughts because the mind sees through the sense organs with the eyes of desire. And so there are many thoughts. The mind is always changing and dancing because there are moment to moment our desires change. Because our desires change, our decisions are changing. And the mind, the sense organs go to the objects of our desires, whether it's seeing, hearing, tasting, smelling, and touching. It is not only the big desires, but moment to moment, the desires are what guiding the movement of the sense organs, especially the eyes. So, nijasthana sthita sakshi. The sakshi is steady. It doesn't move. Nijasthana, because it is real, it abides as reality. It is there as reality. Sakshi. What does the word sakshi mean? Sakshat ikshate. That which looks directly. Anywhere, it is like the light in this room. Anywhere the light reflects, it is direct. On all sides, it is just falling. Sakshi. Bahir antaha. Bahir antar. Gama gamau akurvana. This sakshi or light of consciousness shines evenly outside as well as inside. Outside means when we open our eyes and when we look at objects, it is a sakshi that is shining there. It is present there. And the eyes are looking through that sakshi. Bahihi. Antar, the sakshi is present everywhere in this physical body. The sakshi is the one that illumines our thoughts. Inside and outside, it illumines the world and the objects in the world. Akurvan. But buddhi chanchalyat. Here the word buddhi is used to actually denote the mind. In many places in Vedanta, buddhi and mind are considered to be one. Buddhi chanchalyat. Because of the movement of the buddhi or the mind, karotiva yat tatha tatha. It looks like as if the sakshi is only moving. Actually, the buddhi is only moving. Buddhi means the desires in the intellect are very active. This word adhyasa is coming from atasmin tad buddhihi adhyasaha. To know, to have a notion of a thing where it is not is called superimposition or adhyasa. For example, there is no water in the desert, but because of the light of the sun, the illusion is created as if there is a water in the desert. The desert does not produce any water. The desert produces only the mirage because of the sunlight falling on the water vapor, sunlight reflecting through the water vapor above the desert sand. So this is atasmin tad buddhi nijasthana sthita sakshi. What is this atasmin tad buddhi? The sakshi is immobile, it is steady, it is always present, it does not come and go. The mind is unsteady, it comes in and goes out and comes in. It just keeps functioning freely, but it casts its thoughts and visions on the sakshi, And so we say, I am going, I am watching, I am seeing, I am hearing, I am tasting, I am smelling, touching. The Sakshi is the I, but it has got no movement. It is steady. Its only job is to cast light. Like how the sun's job is only to cast light on all the objects. In the solar system, the sun is not moving. The sun may be moving as part of a greater solar system, greater systems in the universe. The whole solar system, along with the sun, may be moving, but the sun in the center of the solar system is just steady light, which is casting its light on objects. It is the objects that move, the water that moves, and makes us feel as if the sun is moving. The reflection of the sun is moving in the water. In the same way, it is the mind that moves. The Sakshi is just present, it is still. But it makes us feel like as if that Sakshi is moving. So, what do we do? Because of that feeling within, we say, I am talking, I am walking, I am seeing, I am tasting, I am smelling, I am touching, I am feeling, I am thinking, I am experiencing, I feel sad, I feel happy, I feel hungry, I feel thirsty, I am fat, I am thin, I am tall, I am short, I am dark, I am fair, all these things. I am happy, I am blissful, I am exhilarated, or I am depressed, whatever it is. All for everything we use the word I, but the I has got no connection with all this except the fact that it is the end livener of all these experiences. Nabahyo nantara sakshi buddher deshe hitavubhau बुद्ध्याद्यशेष संशान्तौ यत्र भात्स्यति तत्र सः न बाह्यः, not outside, न अंतरः, not inside, this sakshi buddhehe deshehi tavubhau, the outside and the inside is happening because of the buddhi. It is the buddhi or the mind that distinguishes between outside the body and inside the body. So outside space and inside space. He, indeed, tau ubhau, both are means outside space and inside space. Buddhyadi ashesha samshantau. When the buddhi adi ashesha, when the mind becomes completely quiet, that means in the time of sleep or in time of meditation, when we are not receiving any sense objects from outside, when eyes are closed and the mind is quiet, there bhati asti tatra saha. This consciousness, when the mind is alert and awake, we say outside space, inside space. It is a consciousness which illumines the outside space. It is a consciousness which illumines the space within. But when the intellect has gone to sleep, when the mind has gone to sleep, there are no numerous thoughts of outside thoughts, inside thoughts, outside objects, inside emotions. All that has quietened down. Then what is the Sakshi doing? It is just illumining that plain space of consciousness. The witness is neither outside nor inside. They are indeed the witness, the outside and inside are in that space in the intellect. Intellect means there is space within us. The same space that is outside is also here. But intellect is that which observes this space. And intellect is that which produces thoughts using the sound particles in the space. Space has got sound particles, and our thoughts are made of sound. They're made of letters, words, and they are made of light also because they produce images. So there are images, there are sounds, letters, and words. And these are produced in that space because of the intellect. When that intellect or the mind has become quiet, that witness alone exists and it is shining its light of awareness. So, how do we know that the intellect is shining its light of awareness? Even when we are sleeping, we are not able to speak when we are sleeping. But when we wake up, we say, I slept really well. We say, I slept really well. We also say, I didn't know a thing, which means I didn't experience any thought and I slept really well. For these two experiences, that word I is used. So the I is there and slept really well is a thought. I is there, I did not know anything is another thought. So these thoughts have been illumined by the I, and we are not saying I went to sleep. We are saying I went to sleep, and then we are continuing to say that I slept well. We are not saying that there was nothing and there was no eye to see anything. We are not denying our presence in the night time. So when we wake up in the morning, we say, I am waking up. So there is no non existence for the I. The I is always existing, whereas these thoughts that illumine, that are present in the space of consciousness within, these thoughts come and go. But the Sakshi, it is like this light is shining its light in this room. When I am there, it's shining its light on me. When I leave this room and go, I am not there in this room. Even then, this light is shining its light on this room, irrespective of whether the person is there or not. Like the dancer in that in this Nataka Deepa, the light, which is referred to as Sakshi, is illumining the audience. It is illumining the Yajaman, the king, the ministers, the dancer, the stage, and the dance. When everybody goes away, if the lights are still left on, that light will continue to illumine that empty stage. So the Sakshi is always present. That is a thought that we need to understand here. देशः कोऽपि न भासेत यदि तर्ह्यस्त्वदेशभाक् सर्वदेशप्रकृत्यैव सर्वगत्वं न तु स्वतः देशः अपि न देशः कः अपि न भासेत. There is no space that is experienced. Bhaseta, yadi, if then, tarhi, astu, let it be so. Adesha bhaka, let it be without space. That means the student is hearing all this from the guru, and the student wants to experience something. Like we always understand the language of experience. If somebody says love, we don't know what is love unless we experience that love. So the teacher is talking about Sakshi, the teacher is talking about illumining the space within. So the student is confused because the student is not able to grasp that space. You cannot hold space even outside, and there is no possibility of holding space inside. So deshaha kopi na bhaseta yadi tarhi astu adesha bhaka. If no space is like we say the consciousness illumines the space within, we are not able to see any space being illumined within. So let it be, says the teacher, let there be no space inside. Let your understanding take it that there is nothing inside. Sarvadesha prakrutya eva, only by conceiving all space, prakrutya eva, sarvagatvam natu swataha. Only in reference to this this word sarvagata is there for referring to the Atma. Where is that word? Was it mentioned in the previous? No. Sarvagatvam. This Atma or consciousness or I, we say is present everywhere. right? If it is present everywhere, then it has to be in space everywhere. So the student is saying, I am not experiencing the illumination of space by the Atma within. So let it be so, the teacher says. Sarvadesha prakriptya eva sarvagatvam natu swataha. This Atman by itself, you cannot say it is sarvagata. It is not everywhere, it is not going everywhere. By itself, it has got no such quality. But in reference to space, wherever there is Atman, there is space. Wherever there is Atman, the possibility of experiencing space is there. Space is a creation of Maya. What is Maya? That Sakshi or consciousness reflected through a sattvic, steady mind is called Ishvara. And in that Ishvara, thoughts are created. And what is the first thought that is created? Of space. So the space is a created thought, a thought created by Maya. You cannot say consciousness is everywhere. That let it be so, because it can be understood only in the context of space. Only space gives us the opportunity to go here and come there. If there is no space, there is no possibility of movement. Antarbahirva sarvam va yam desham parikalpayet buddhistad deshagas sakshi tatha vastushu yojayet. Antaha bahihi, inside and outside and everywhere or everywhere, either inside or outside or everywhere in all space. Yam desham parikalpayet, wherever we imagine a space, whether we imagine a space within or whether we imagine imagination is also thought. Whether we have a thought of space within or whether we have a thought of space without, parikalpayet buddhihi tad deshagaha sakshi. Parikalpayet, by how can we imagine? We can imagine with the help of the buddhi. The intellect has got the power of imagination. Imagination means something that is not there, it can create that image. Buddhihi tad deshagaha sakshi. So the sakshi or that witnessing consciousness, wherever this buddhi creates an imaginary space, on that space this consciousness shines its light. Tatha vastushu yojayet. In the same way, in objects also, wherever there are objects means not exactly outside, that object is reflected through the sense organs, the 5 sense organs in the mind, and that creates the thought. This consciousness enlivens that thought. The consciousness enlivens the thoughts of the objects in our mind. The consciousness enlivens a space that is envisioned by the mind. That space is also envisioned by the mind. The objects are also presented to the intellect by the mind. And consciousness illumines both. It is just like saying, this light in this room is illumining the space in the room. The light in the room is illumining the objects in the room. In the same way, the light of consciousness illumines the objects of the senses in the mind, and the light of consciousness illumines that object of thought called space in the mind. It is just an illumination of consciousness. Yadyadrupadi kalpyetam buddhya tat prakashayan tasya bhavet sakshi swato vag buddhya gocharaha. It's interesting. This sakshi is that it is just a power. It is just a presence. It is a light of awareness. Unlike other lights, it does not need a lamp and a wick and a matchstick to light it up. It does not need a power supply. It does not need an equipment like a tube light or a bulb light or a torch light with batteries to make it shine. This light shines by itself. That light is only this consciousness. And that consciousness is only I. That is where our connection is in this whole picture. Otherwise, let it be what is the connection with me. There is no point in studying all this if there is no relevance for that light of consciousness to us. I am that light. You are that light of consciousness that we are talking about right now. Yadyat rupadi kalpyeta, whatever form that the intellect can imagine, buddhya, by the buddhi, tattat prakashayan, this consciousness, if I create a form of Deepavali sweets in my mind, consciousness illumines the thought. Yes, there is a thought of Deepavali sweet. It is shining its light of awareness on that thought. If I visualize Deepavali crackers in my mind, consciousness sheds its light on Deepavali crackers. If I contemplate on the story of Narakasura and the Narakasura Vadha by Shri Krishna, consciousness illumines that thought and the understanding of the story. If I'm contemplating on my new dress for Deepavali, consciousness illumines that thought. Yadyat rupadi kalpyeta, whatever form we can imagine, buddhya, tat, by the buddhi, tat prakashayan, tasya tasya bhavet sakshi. Whatever is being churned by the mind, the sakshi or the witness consciousness sheds its light on that, and then swataha buddhi agocharaha. So the sakshi can see the thought. The sakshi is live, alive, presence. That live presence, which is non-matter, which is just very, what to say, its consistency is only spiritual. It is not material. It is present everywhere and it is living. It is living means emotions have the ability to express in that sakshi. Thoughts have the ability to express in the sakshi. So that is what living means. Breath has got the ability to express in that sakshi. So that's what it means. Sakshi is living. That is a living thing. Everything else is non-living. Tasya tasya bhavet sakshi. Whatever is being thrown up in the mind, the sakshi illumines it. But can that sakshi be seen by the thoughts? I can see this thought that I am celebrating Deepavali. There is a thought in my mind. This I or the sakshi can see the thought, I am celebrating Deepavali. And anytime we have not experienced a thought coming and talking to us, we can observe thoughts. Thoughts seem to be interacting with each other, but thoughts don't come and interact with the thinker of the thoughts. The thinker is only, the consciousness is only shining its light of awareness. The thoughts are not recognizing consciousness. Consciousness is only recognizing the thought. Consciousness is alive, thought is inert. So, tasya tasya sakshi swataha vad buddhi agocharaha. The sakshi is not accessible to the word or sentence. The sakshi is not accessible to the intellect. The sakshi is beyond the grasp of the intellect. The sakshi has got nothing to do with the intellect. It has got nothing to do with the thought. It has got nothing to do with the mind. It has got nothing to do with the words. But still, it can illumine the intellect. It can illumine the mind. It can illumine the words. But the words and the intellect and the mind cannot grasp the sakshi. It is like the father and the mother can know the child, the baby, as their own child. But the child does not have the capacity to know the father and mother unless the child grows up and the child is being told that this is your father and this is your mother. On its own, the child does not have the capacity. In the same way, On its own, the thought does not have the capacity. But when the Guru is teaching that thought in our mind, that this Sakshi is your creator, the witness, then that thought will sit up and watch. Even then, it can only understand, it cannot know fully because the capacity is not there, it is inert. Then the Sakshi shines its light on everything, like this light shines its light on the room, but we don't need, nothing can shine the light for us to see. The light shines by itself. In the same way, nothing can cast its light to make the Sakshi visible for us, because the Sakshi is visible by itself. It does not take the help of thought, or it does not take the help of words. It does not take the help of the mind to reveal itself. It is self revealing. Swataha Vag Sakshi Swataha shining. Vag Buddhi Agocharaha. It is beyond the grasp of the words and senses. Katham tadrangmaya grahya iti chenmaiva grihyatam sarvagrahopasam shantau swayameva vashishyate. So the student is very depressed now. What is this? Why am I studying all this? Why should I know about all this? Whenever we know about something, we know something is beautiful, something is great, something is powerful, something is wonderful. We want to attain that and we want to keep it with us. We don't want to be simply thinking about something which is unattainable. So the teacher is saying, if suppose the student says, Katham tadrik maya grahya iti chet. Suppose, how can that kind of a sakshi, which is not even coming under the grasp of the mind and the intellect, how can I, the individual jiva, how can I hold that sakshi? How can I get it? So the teacher said, Ma eva grihyatam, just drop it. Don't, it is a simple thing. Like if something, even in our day-to-day life also, when we are going behind some person or going behind some situation or going behind an object and trying to get it for ourselves, that object, person, or situation will keep escaping from us. In the same way, and this Sakshi, we can never capture it because it is beyond our imagination also. So how can we capture something? Even the photograph, the camera, which is capturing a picture, it is just capturing a shadow image. One small square only we are seeing of that very beautiful and big image. It can never capture the whole reality. The camera or the mobile phone camera, wherever, or video or film, even if you take a film of some topic, you cannot really capture the whole reality in that film because reality is so deep. Even all the great directors who try to take epic movies, they are hardly able to cover the lifetime of a person in those few scenes. And to take those few scenes is such a massive effort that, and it is not possible. We don't have the patience to watch so many hours also, and nobody can take. The budget also will be very much because it is too deep and too wide and too big and beyond our comprehension. So if it is for the life of a person or a movie, then what to say of the Sakshi, which is enlivening all these things, all our activities, all our thoughts, all our words, and all our emotions. Not only our means not a few group of people, the billions and billions of people over the world, and all the gods, and all the demons, and all the other creatures, in all the 14 lokas, and many, many, many such Brahmandas, this one Sakshi is illuminating. So, such a Sakshi, how can we ever try to grasp it? Ma eva grihyata. Don't try to grasp it. Just drop it. The teacher says, Sarva grahopa samshantau. When you give up that effort, dropping is not dropping the idea that I want to know that, but dropping the efforts. This is not possible by our individual effort. That Sakshi if it communicates with us, the possibility is there, we don't know. By the grace of the divine, it can happen. When that Sakshi communicates with us, we can have an experience of that. Many, many, many great Mahatmas have had. Close their eyes and enter into that blissful experience of this consciousness present everywhere, in everything. Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, Ramana Maharishi, and great masters, even in our times. Some people talk about it, some people don't talk about it. Sarvagrahopa samshanto. But when will that experience happen? That experience will never happen as long as we are putting in effort. As long as we are, it is a stupidity. How can I catch hold of the sky? How can I take the sky like a cloth and fold it and put it in my pocket? Impossible. How can I think that I can roll up the earth under my feet and carry it on my shoulder bag? Not possible. So it is such a stupidity to think that it is possible in the first place. And with intellect itself, we can't do it. How can we do it with stupidity? So the teacher says, drop that effort. Drop that effort to catch it. Know it is there. We are telling that it is there. The Shastras, the Rishis are telling it is there. Just know it and be with it. Not have faith in it, but that knowledge that it is there. Sarvagrahopa samshantau. When the sense organs have become quiet, when the body has become quiet, when the mind has given up that search to go behind it, run behind it, try to capture it and do what? We always are thinking about how it is going to be useful for me in my life. How can I get more views on my YouTube channel? How can I get more likes on Facebook? How can many people follow me on Instagram or Twitter? How can I achieve a lot of money? We're always trying to put things to use. There is no use that you can put it to. It is beyond all uses. Sarvagrahopa samshantav. When all this effort to catch it has quietened down, swayameva avashishyate. When you remove all the efforts to see it, hear it, taste it, smell it, touch it, feel it, hold it, hug it, sit over it, climb over it, reach it, attain it. So many words we use. When you drop all these efforts, when all the efforts are dropped, what is left is that Sakshi only. There's nothing else. Swayameva avashishyate. That Sakshi alone remains. The Sakshi is there. We cannot take it. We cannot get it. We cannot hold it. If we cannot hold earth also completely, we cannot hold water also completely. In our palm, we can take a little bit of water, or in a tumbler or a container, we can hold water, or even in big water storage tanks, we can hold water. We cannot hold it by ourselves with our hands. Not possible. We cannot hold fire. We cannot hold air. We cannot hold space. And how can we hold that Sakshi, which is more subtle than all these? It is that light which illumines space, illumines air, illumines water, illumines fire, and illumines the earth. It illumines me, it illumines you, it illumines my thoughts, it illumines your thoughts, it illumines my emotions, your emotions, my words, and your words. How can that one that throws its light on all this, how can we hold that? Not possible. How can we harness that? Harnessing is a word that we use it very often. Harnessing sunlight, harnessing ocean power, harnessing air power, harnessing space power. Our mobile phones are all working on that. Radio, mobile phones, by harnessing space power or harnessing fire, heat, and gaining electricity, harnessing geothermal energy, the heat from the earth, harnessing. This consciousness is beyond any effort by us to harness its powers. It is just there. In fact, all the powers that we harness are powers of the consciousness. Natatra manapekshasti swaprakasha swarupataha tadrang vyutpathayas vyutpatyapeksha chet Shrutim Pata Guror Mukhat. So the teacher says, stop all this job of trying to hold that consciousness with your hand, trying to attain it somewhere, going to some place and trying to reach that consciousness, climbing some mountain, sitting there in meditation and trying to, I've attained consciousness. Drop all those efforts. But still, you've spoken so much about consciousness, you've spoken so much about awareness. How can I be without knowing it? The mind will know no rest until it realizes that truth. That's the nature of the mind. Just like when we have a desire, the mind will know no rest until that desire is fulfilled. In the same way, now we have tempted the mind with some supreme knowledge within. The mind is going to know no rest. The mind is going to be active all the time, searching, searching, searching. We are all searching all the time, constantly. So when will that if you say I cannot grasp it with my mind, so drop all these efforts of grasping, then when will I ever get it? How will I ever know about it for myself? I've heard it from you. It is your experience. It is not my experience. How does it become my experience? The student will be disturbed. So the teacher is very kind. He says, if you still want to know, one way of eliminating the number of students for this moksha is you can't grasp it, you can't reach it. You tell, many people will go away. They will not strive to get something that is unattainable. So they will just drop it and do other things. But still, there may be real earnest students who have come so far and they know that, like Maitreyi told Yajnavalkya, you have given up all this wealth and you say you're going. You got so much of wealth. You're the dean of a university with 10,000 students and you've got so many cows. You've got so much of wealth. You're leaving all this and going. So what is that great thing that you're searching and then because of which you're leaving all this? Will all these things give that greatness to me? Or what is the great thing that you are searching, going in search of, which is not available here? So tell me that. So we have such earnest students around. So that time the teacher says, Na tatra mana peksha asti. Na tatra mana peksha. There is no need for taking any measuring rod or measuring twine to measure consciousness. It is not. It is beyond our ability to measure. It is beyond all measurement. Asti swaprakasha swarupataha. Why it cannot be measured? It is swaprakasha. It shines its light by itself. Swarupataha. It is its own form. If there is sudden form of, there is just a sudden appearance of light with some form of its own shape, with no outside object to compress it, then that is the consciousness that's being spoken about. Swaprakasha, its own light. Swarupataha, its own form. It is not made by anybody, it is not created by anybody, it is not given shape to by anybody. Swarupataha, tadrik vyutpatti apeksha. Tadrik, like that, vyutpatti apeksha. If that understanding is needed, apeksha chet, if I want the understanding of this consciousness, if I want a clearer understanding of this consciousness, so that I can finally reach the goal and my mind can rest in peace, apeksha, if it is needed, shrutim patha, study the scriptures. The Upanishads say, Isha Vasyam Idagam Sarvam Yatkincha Jagatyam Jagat. This whole universe that moves and does not move is covered by this consciousness. Na prajnam na bahish prajnam, no bhayata prajnam, na prajnam, na prajnana ghanam, na prajnam, na pragyam, adrishyam, avyavaharyam, agrahyam, alakshanam, achintyam, avyapadeshyam, ekatma pratyayasaram prapanchopashamam shantam shivam advaitam chaturtham manyante sa atma sa vigneyah. Know that to be the Atma, says the Mandukya Upanishad. Definitions are given in the Upanishads. Shastram Patha, read the Shastras. Shrutim Patha, from whom? Not by ourselves, not by going into the library, picking up those Upanishads and trying to understand. We will be confused further. We will not have clarity. Because whatever is being given in the Shrutis are given in such a way that when we read it, we will not understand it directly. The truth is of that nature. It is not so easy to attain the truth. So that thought should not come in our mind, yeah, if I read the scriptures from the books straight away, I will be able to understand and I will know the truth. Not that. The guru or the teacher who has studied that, contemplated on that, realized that truth, is giving out the words. Even in school also, we have class teachers because whether it is physics or chemistry or whether it is mathematics, even though that subject has been given in the textbook, even though the question and answers have been provided, it is not so easy for us to just read the book and understand. We need that life energy of the teacher to delve into the subject, that life energy of the teacher to explain that subject on the board with many diagrams, pictures, images, many usage of vocabulary and many dramatics to appeal to our kinesthetic learning skill, mean through feeling, auditory learning skill through hearing, and visual learning skills through seeing. All these three means the teacher employs and enlightens, uses her own intellect and mind, his own intellect and mind, or her own intellect and mind, and picks up that subject, polishes it, and presents it as beautiful thoughts to students, and it makes the whole subject very easy to comprehend. How would we study if not for the teachers in school or in college who make that subject so entertaining and so lively that we are able to understand it easily? In the same way, there is no way by which we can interpret the Shastras because we don't have that knowledge, we don't have the training, and we don't have the capacity. The teacher provides us with the knowledge, the teacher provides us with the training, the teacher provides us with the capacity to understand, the teacher provides us with the means to understand. Like Gurudev, one student asked Gurudev, do we need a guru in our life to learn the scriptures? And Puja Gurudev said, why don't you go and ask that to the scriptures themselves? They will answer this question. So it is not possible. The books don't talk to us. Only the teacher can talk to us. The guru can talk to us. Gurur mukhat patha shrutim. If you still want to know, if you want to attain that freedom by knowing the truth within you, study the scriptures through the words of the guru, through the voice of the guru. You will gain a lot of clarity. यदि सर्वग्रह त्यागः अशक्यस्तर्हि धियम् अशक्तस् अशक्यस्तर्हि धियं व्रज शरणं तदधीनोऽन्तः बहिर्वैशोनु भूयताम्. Okay, now sarvagraha tyagaha ashakyaha. If I am trying to grasp that consciousness through my eyes, where? We search, you say there is God everywhere. Where is God? We try to see. You can hear God. Where? What sound is He? What sound? In what words can I hear God? We want to grasp it through our senses. Can you smell God? Where? What is the smell of God? What is the taste of God? No, not possible. Ashakyaha. Then, in what way can I imagine God? With what feeling can I experience God? Ashakyaha. Not possible. Impossible. In what way can I conceive of God as a thought in my mind? Not possible. Yadi sarvagraha tyagaha ashakyaha. Now, even though it is not possible, if you are not able to give up that searching, if you are not able to give up that seeking, if you're not able to give up that effort, tarhi dhyam vraja. You take refuge in the intellect. You take refuge in the thought. The scriptures provide the thought. Prajnanam Brahma, Ayam Atma Brahma, Neti Neti. All these methods are all provided in the form of thoughts. Dhyam Sharanam Tad Adhinaha Dhyam Vraja Sharanam. Go and fall at the feet of the intellect. Go and fall at the feet of thought. Meaning the thought of the scriptures, the thoughts that come out of the teacher's mouth, the words that come out of the teacher's mouth that we hear are present in our mind as thoughts. Hold on to those words. You want to hold on to something, right? You want to try to grasp consciousness, right? You cannot grasp consciousness. You can hold on to that buddhi, the intellect. Sharanam tad adhinaha antarbahihi vai antarbahir vai. One minute. Antarbahihi va esha anubhuyatam. So, if you cannot let go, you want to hold on to something, right? Hold on to the thoughts. Thoughts about what? Not thoughts of worry, anxiety, hopelessness, and all that. Thoughts of the scriptures, as explained by the Guru. Listen to them. Hold on to that. Hold on to that thought. Then what happens? Tad adhinaha. If I surrender to the thought, tad adhinaha antaha bahihi vai, you can experience this consciousness within and without. Eshaha anubhuyatam. You can experience this consciousness within and without, inside and outside. So this is the means by which Swami Vidyaranya explains to us the means by which we can attain the consciousness using the simile of the dancer and the stage and the auditorium and the light that shines on the dancer and the auditorium and the organizer of the dance, the master of that dance performance. This is called Nataka Deepaha, and is a very beautiful text. Tomorrow is Deepavali. Wish you all a very happy Deepavali. We will meet again tomorrow for Vision of Vedanta. What better day to have a clear vision of Vedanta than Deepavali, the festival of lights. Deepavali is celebrated because in Deepavali, we ourselves are the God. That Naraka Asura. Naraka means human space. That ego is Narakasura, and it is the day on which Bhagavan Sri Krishna killed Narakasura, or called Bhaumasura, meaning the very solid ego belonging to the earth. Bhaumasura was an asura who has got special powers, and he was torturing people, and that is why Bhagavan Sri Krishna killed him on this day of Naraka Chaturdashi. It has already begun now, and tomorrow early morning people celebrate that with Ganga Snanam, purifying their ego, purifying their, what is the ego is not a bad word. It is the I thought with awareness. That's the ego. And so on that day, may we all meet again tomorrow in the evening to see in what way we can experience the truth, whether we want to do it through Panchadashi or through some other text of Adi Shankaracharya. Let us see. Om Sarvesham स्वस्तिर्भवतु सर्वेषां शान्तिर्भवतु सर्वेषां पूर्णं भवतु सर्वेषां मङ्गलं भवतु सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् ॐ असतो मा सद्गमय तमसोर्मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमय ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ बोलिए श्री सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय हर नमः पार्वती पतये हर हर महादेव हरि ओम।